go! Ladies and gents, how we doing tonight? How we feeling? We are up in the air, baby. We got the fellas in here. Recap game one, Celtics, Pacers. Little OT game. Pacers had a chance to steal it, but in the end, Celtics came out on top, showing the dominance they are as a team. Guys, welcome to the BCS show after our quick night. Just want to recap tonight's game and get into all the action. Let's just do a little around the room roll call. Of course, we got my right hand, as always, North Glenn's finest. We got the Soch man in the house. Soch, how we feeling?
Good as always. I mean, first game of the conference finals. It was a good one. Can only hope for OT like the game was. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I mean, I tuned in the second half and obviously overtime. But it was a good one. It was a good one. I think the Pacers got some battle in them, but curious to see what you guys thought about that game. But glad to be here. A little short show, so it should be good.
Absolutely, and of course, we got Motion Jones in the house tonight, doing his thing, looking, just scheming tonight. How we doing, Big Motion?
Feeling good tonight, baby. It was a close game. I mean, as we all wanted overtime, it was neck and neck there. I think the Pacers kind of let it drift away a little bit towards the end, but I'm excited to be here and let's get into it.
100%, ladies and gents. I see we got 7 live viewers right now in the chat. Guys, drop some comments down below. Let us know. Drop your questions. We're always going to shoot out on the show. We'll throw your comments out there, throw your tag out there, and say what's good. But let's get into it. Game 1 recap. Celtics Pacers in Boston. Like we said, I think we all kind of thought that this series might have been a little blown out and everything. The Celtics were going to do their thing. Pacers showed some fight here. Close game, go into an overtime. Had a chance to win the game, the Pacers did before the OT, just kind of careless with the ball. What are our thoughts, though, game 1, and how do you think this series is going to shape up? We'll start with the kid, Sochman.
I mean, yeah, it was really surprising to see the Pacers fight back. Obviously, they started the game off 12-0. So they were down big right off the jump, so it's good to see them, get back into rhythm and make it a game in the first quarter. Like you said, the second half, they were staying close, sticking with it. They got down 13 in the second half and still managed to come back. It was literally just the final 5 minutes. They just let the game slip away. The big costly turnovers by Halliburton, a couple by the other guys. And that just goes to show the Celtics defense. I think the all NBA teams came out today. Drew Holiday and Derek White were on the second team. For all NBA defense, and that just goes to show Drew Holiday obviously was suffocating Halliburton in that late turnover that he had, and they're just an all-around stacked team. Shout out to the Pacers for obviously making it a game, but the Celtics are just known to play with their food for one of these early games, the first game or the second game. They'll do this. Them winning, I think that was a good thing for them going into overtime. I think it's probably going to be a little bit worse for the next game. This might be like an emotional killer for the Pacers. Obviously, they should have stole this one, and who knows how they're going to come out next game. But it just goes to show, like I said, the Celtics, they're just all-around team, stacked, very deep. All 5 starters have 15+ in this game, with Derek White only having one of the 15. So, Drew Holiday went off for 28. That was another key factor for them, and I think the Pacers, that might have been their only one that they can get. I think they'll make a close one at home, but I'm still sticking with the Celtics. The late game execution is what's going to win you these games, and the Celtics were just they stuck with it and they closed the game out as they should. So shout out to the Celtics.
100%. Motion, what do you think? What are we seeing in the series? Game 1, what did you like? What did you dislike? And how do you think we are going forward?
Absolutely. The fact that the Pacers came out, played at the Celtics arena, and put on a show. 3 of their starters all went for 20+ points. I think that's something to be proud of as a Pacer. Although the Celtics, anytime you got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combining for over 62 points together, that's going to be hard to beat. I do think it kind of slipped away with them towards the end there. They had those big turnovers that really cost them the game. I think if they clean it up and make some of those big free throws too towards the end of the game, we could have a good series. But I mean, I don't think anyone was really expecting this. I mean, I had the Celtics, blowing out the Pacers, and the fact that they stuck with them kind of through the whole game, overcame some deficits, and took the lead there towards the end and just kind of let it slip away. I think that it could be a good game, and the fact that they did well against the Celtics at home is crazy to see. Excited for this next game. I think, they got to just kind of clean it up. There were some mistakes there towards the end that, if they would have cleaned it up, it could have, turned out differently for them. But I mean, the Celtics are a powerhouse, man, and it's not going to be easy playing those guys. I mean, they're the top dogs, and if they want to stay in it with this, they got to, clean up those mistakes that they were facing in this game today. I mean, the Celtics they're known for, they got their glory days, man. They're known for, winning championships and stuff. And it goes way back in the day. So, I mean, I feel like, to make the series, even more interesting, they got to just, stick with them and, just put on a show.
Guys, shout out all the live viewers and listeners in the chat tonight. Drop some comments below. We'll throw them up on the show, give you a shout out. We had 119 live viewers and listeners last night. A couple of you guys in here tonight. Appreciate it as always. Good seeing you guys. Always want to make you a part of the show. So let us know what you're thinking. What was your take on game one? Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were already saying, especially with what Sach said. Pacers definitely had a chance to steal this game and just came up short. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, where he was great from the three-point arc and everything, just could not hold on to the ball as of late, and that's not what you need your leader to do. You have to control the game. When we were watching it, there was about 20 seconds left on the clock. Pacers had the lead as obvious. They just had to hold the ball, run the clock down for a game. They could not do it. Just constant turnovers, just lack of awareness here. Also, here's the stats here from the Celtics side of things. I mean, this is how you know the Celtics are just dominant. Any guy can go off on this team. Al Horford, 15 points. Drew Holiday, 28. Jason Tatum tonight, 36 points. Jaylen Brown, 26. Derek White, 15. I mean, you look at that, and that's without Kristaps Porzingis. We haven't even talked about that yet moving forward. I think he's going to sit these first two games, of course, but he's going to be back. What are we thinking here, Saj? I mean, really, you can't let Jason Tatum get 36 points if you're trying to win this series and whatnot. And especially, you can't let all of these guys double marks without Kristaps Porzingis. Any thoughts on that, Sach?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is if you're the Pacers, like, you're not even beating them at full strength. They're going with a backup center who's about 50 years old, it seems like. And the thing that makes them deadly is obviously their depth. Al Horford, he played 40 minutes tonight. That's a lot for the old guy. And for him to have that production, for him to have the late block in overtime to, let Tatum go out for some free throws, those are big time plays by their vets. And all of these guys that were out there have either Drew Holiday won a ring, and then the Celtics 2 years ago when they went up against Golden State, they've been there, so they have the experience. It went to show in that last couple minutes in the fourth quarter, just the Pacers' inexperience. Besides Pascal Siakam, Halliburton kind of got a little flustered there, but I mean, yeah, you just look at the box score, and any of these guys can go off for 20-plus points every single night. 3 of them went off for 20-plus, and the next game, 3 of them are going to go off for 20-plus again. You're going to have Derek White play a better game. And, of course, it went into overtime, so, Tatum did get about eight points that were cheap in overtime, the free throws and whatnot. But I don't know if the key factor is to really stop Tatum. Tatum can go ahead and get his. It's the other guys like Derek White, Al Horford, Drew Holiday that you really need to just stop. Don't let them go for 20-plus points. And obviously it's easier said than done. The Celtics have been the number 1 seed in the East for a month before the season even ended. They were up by so many games to secure that spot. But, yeah, I mean, it was just the textbook, inexperienced versus experience type game. And I think next game it could be worse. The good thing about the Pacers is when they were down by 12 to start the game, they came back. Then they were down 13, came back again. I mean, that's something to rest your hat on. Halliburton's going to have to score more points than he did, tonight. It's going to be Halliburton and Siakam that are going to have to carry this team. You had Miles Turner chip in, I think, 20 points? He chipped in 20 points and you still lost. That's a tough thing to swallow because you don't expect Miles Turner, Aaron Naismith, and Andrew Nembhard to go ahead and get you 20. So this might be the only game for the next couple games where they can get production like that from those guys. So it's all going to come down to Halliburton and see what he can do. He's going to have to score probably 25, 30-plus points. He shot the ball extremely well tonight, so that was good to see. But, I mean, I just don't think the Pacers have it in them to really do it. And I know they could have won this game, but this is a game that's going to haunt them. It's going to haunt them for the rest of the series no matter what.
100%. Kind of what Sach is talking about here. You had 7 guys over on the Pacers who were in double digits. 7. Talking Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, 15 and 13 for those two. Nembhard 12, Naismith 14, Halliburton 25, Siakam 24, and like Sach was saying, Miles Turner 23. Honest scoring wise and everything offensively, these guys were playing great, holding their own, everything. They were running their fast-paced ball. But we talked about it. This is where the experience comes into play here in the playoffs. This is where you learn the situational awareness and what you were trying to do to close out a game. Max, looks like we're going in to game 2 this Thursday, back again in Boston. If you're the Pacers, you want to go 1-1 here. You got to steal one on the road. What do the Pacers kind of need to do moving forward, and who needs to step up even more?
Absolutely. I feel like, if you're the Pacers, you got to win this next game. This is a huge game, and if you let this one slip away, then the series, in my opinion, is over with. They gotta lock up these players who are scoring, 26 points. Like Sach was saying, I don't think locking up Tatum is going to be the cure-all. You can't have guys there was 15. Two of their starters both had 15 points. Jaylen Brown has 26 points. You can't have that if you're the Pacers. They really need to lock up these other role players who aren't capable. Like Al Horford, for instance. He's an old guy. They need to, put the clamps on guys like that because, Jason Tatum, he's going to do his thing. It's not their first rodeo here. They've been here. They have the experience, and they have the talent to do so. And if I'm the Pacers, it's all a defensive scheme. You gotta lock these players up. And, they had a great game tonight. With 7 of their players, scoring in double digits is something to be proud of. But I do believe, if they want to win this next game, they got to play better on defense. And they can't let these games like this slip away. If it's coming to close calls like that, you can't lose the ball, and you can't have turnovers in crucial moments like that. And again, that just goes back to the experience. The Celtics, it's not their first rodeo here. They've been here. They have older veterans on the team who know what they're doing. And if I'm the Pacers, you gotta talk it over. You gotta all be on the same page and really need to have a defensive scheme plan because, Tatum's going to pop off regardless, but you got to take care of those other key role players on the Celtics.
100%. Yeah, like both of you guys just said, you got to find another game here on the road if you're the Pacers to steal, because if they go up 2-0 at home, I do think this series is going to be over quickly and whatnot. I think the strong point for the Pacers, don't hang your head tonight, though. At least you hung in there with one of the best teams in the NBA and did your thing, but you got to clean up the little stuff here. We talked about turnovers are so big in this ballgame, especially when it comes to late game territory. That's truly the reason they lost. And second chance rebounds here for the Pacers. We all know that the Celtics are the bigger team here down low and everything, but just watching how many second chance points and baskets the Celtics could muster up in the end, especially in OT, is kind of where it got last days ago as well. But if you're the Pacers, let this one go now, but you got to come back Thursday strong and get this thing up and moving. Real quick around any last comments from the two gentlemen here? What do we got? Any last comments on game 2 coming up on Thursday? Just any last remarks before we quickly just preview game 1 of Wolves versus Mavs?
The key is they're going to have to start off a lot faster. It's hard. It's already hard enough to beat the Celtics, and if you start the game 12-0, like you're down 12-0 off rip, that's a recipe for disaster. So what I'll be looking for is the Pacers just starting fast. They have to start fast. get Halliburton and Pascal Siakam going quick. Let these other guys, just defend. Anyone on the Pacers is literally just try to not just play fucking crazy defense on your guy. Everyone else, let Tatum and Brown, they're going to get their 20 plus points. Tatum's going to get his 25, 30, whatever it is. But you can't have Al Horford getting 15 points on you. You just can't. He's too old to be doing that. It's not his role to score that many points. You can't have Drew Holiday fucking scoring 28 points. He's not really known for that. He can obviously do it, but you can't let him score 28. It's just already too hard. It's already too hard. Just starting off fast and just securing all these other guys. And you got to have production from your bench. Once again, Obi Toppin and ZJ, your guy TJ McConnell, which I love TJ McConnell, so he's going to keep doing his thing, but they're just going to have to come out hungrier than they did. Let this one sting for a little bit, but just a fast start and just keep the game close. All you can really hope for is just keeping the game close going into the fourth quarter and just execute the game plan a lot better. And that relies on Halliburton to not turn the ball over like he was. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll make another game or two close, but like Max was saying, if they drop this one, the series is over. You're not winning 4 out of 6 against the Celtics. It's just not going to happen. So I think it's a must-win game for the Pacers. They know that. Going into Boston and splitting, going back home, you can feel a little bit more comfortable doing that. So just a fast start and better execution late in the game is what I'll be looking for them. But still, give me the Celtics to win the next game.
Absolutely.
100%. Max, any last remark from you before we get to the next?
No, I completely agree with Sach on this one. Siakam and Halliburton, they gotta put on a show. Again, they both need to score at least 20 points in this next game to even be close with it. Miles Turner, he had 23 tonight. He played pretty well for him, but I do believe, they're going to have to put up a clinic. Otherwise, this one's going to slip away. Again, they got to really lock in those other role players. Like Sach said, Jason Tatum, he's going to do his thing regardless. So if I'm the Pacers, I'm not going to be too worried on him or Jaylen Brown. It's those other role players that they really need to, lock up and make sure, Al Horford shouldn't be getting 15 points. He's an old guy, and they really need to play some defense on those guys because that's how the game can slip away. And if they want any chance of making this a series, then that's what they're going to need to do. That's all I really have to say about, the Pacers. They just got to come out. Don't hang your heads. They had a good game compared to the Celtics. This is the number one team, and I believe they got to just play some defense and lock some guys up, keep guys to single digits, and they could be in this game. This is a must-win game for the Pacers, and if they don't win this game, then I believe this series could be over.
100%, ladies and if there's positive to take here for the general public is we can always be happy if this series is going to go like this. We're going to see some OTs in the series, close games, a lot in this past series. We haven't seen too many close games here. So a great one to start us off. You get an OT here in the Eastern Conference Final. Let's keep it up. Hopefully the series is a well matched throughout. There we go, ladies and gents. Shout out to all the live viewers and listeners here, guys. Leave us a comment. Throw us out something in the chat. We'll throw you up on the screen and give you a shout out with your comment or whatever you want and get a conversation going. But just to close out the episode, let's quickly just do a quick preview of what we're kind of expecting. We got game 1 tomorrow, T-Wolves versus Mavs in the Western Conference Finals. What are we expecting to see here? How do we think the outcome will be? Of course, we got home advantage for the T-Wolves. We'll start with the Sach, man.
So the T-Wolves, like you said, they are going to be at home for this one. And, in that Denver series, you didn't really see them not until game 6 that, they came out flat in game 3 and 4 at home going up against the Mavs. It's a new series, fresh slate. So I think they're going to be hungry. They just have confidence through the roof, like we were saying last night. They know that they can beat anyone. Anthony Edwards believes that he's the best player in the league. There's no doubt about it. You got Big Purr playing out of his mind. His defense is tremendous. The thing that is going to have to happen for the Mavs to win is guys like P.J. Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., and Tim Hardaway are going to have to knock down shots. They're going to have to stretch the floor. The T-Wolves are just too good defensively to have two guys beat them. They just could throw so many different weapons at you on the defensive end, and I expect the T-Wolves to win this game. I think the line is at what the hell's the line at? Line's at 4.5. I think that's pretty solid. Kyrie is going to be the X factor in this series. You can't let Luka Doncic just ball hog the whole damn time and just huck up shots. They're going to obviously trap him. They're going to do everything they can. But Kyrie, with his, like we said yesterday, also his 10 points, his 8 points, 20 points, those games are going to have to skyrocket for them to win. Mainly because PJ Washington, the guy that is playing good, Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford, all the big guys on the Mavs that played well last series, they were going up against the OKC Thunder, who's not a very big team at all. Now they're getting flip-flopped to a complete 180, going up against probably the biggest team in the league with 3 7-footers, guys that are 6'8", 6'7", wingspan. That's insane. And then you got Anthony Edwards, who's obviously just the athletic freak. It's going to rely on the guards and the shooting guards on the Mavs for them to win this game. I'm really curious on how the Mavs are going to play Tim Hardaway Jr. He's obviously a sniper. He can score the ball pretty much, when he's hot, he's hot. So I'm looking at what they're going to do with their rotations. He wasn't really effective in the other series with the Thunder, but I mean, I'm just looking at a prop right now, bro. I'm looking at Hardaway Jr. over 5.5 points. You can get that at even money right now. 5.5 points. He hit it in 3 out of the last 5 games, and head-to-head against the Timberwolves, he's hit it in 5 straight. Obviously, that's with his minutes being like 28, 30 minutes a game, but I just think they're going to have to stretch the floor against the Timberwolves defense. They're going to have shooters everywhere. And Derrick Jones Jr., Jaden Hardy, and Josh Green, they're not really 3-point threats at the moment. So that's a prop that I'm really looking at. Anyone that's listening, Tim Hardaway over 5.5 points. Just because the doubles will be coming, Luka's going to have to make the right play, and he's going to have to rely on people to knock down shots. And he's obviously the best knockdown shooter probably on the Mavs other than Luka and Kyrie. So, yeah, it's hard to say before game one because you don't know how the rotations are going to be. You don't know who the hell they're thinking on playing. But if I'm imagining how the game is going to go, I'm going to go with the Timberwolves for game one. There's no way I could just put my money or even think the Mavs are going to win this one. So give me them. I think it's going to break down.
100%. I think we've seen a huge confidence here from the T-Wolves and everything. Hopefully the Mavs can just stack up, but I think these matchups are a little uneven here. Max, what are you kind of thinking with this game one preview?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm taking the Timberwolves. I mean, they're coming off of a Game 7 victory at Denver, which they're on fire right now. They have the best defensive team in the league. And with Anthony Edwards running the show, it's a scary sight to see. It really is. He is the best player in the NBA, and I think he's very hungry. I think if the Mavericks want a chance at this, they gotta lock that man up. He can't be scoring 40 points a game against the Mavericks. They just can't do that. Although I do think the Mavericks are equally hungry. Luka doesn't have a ring. Although Kyrie has a ring, I think that if they want to stay in this series, a big part of that is locking up Anthony Edwards and other role guys on that Timberwolves team like Conley and guys like that. Karl Anthony Towns, they got to make sure that those guys stay under double digits because Anthony Edwards is going to ball out regardless. And a big factor for the Mavericks is Kyrie's got to hit those shots because I mean Luka is gonna he's gonna score 20 plus points a game. But a big factor for them is going to be Kyrie Irving, floor general, getting the rock out and making plays. That's going to be huge for them. They are playing at home, and they have that fire under them for the Timberwolves because they're coming off of a big game, and critics are talking. Anthony, they're comparing him to Michael Jordan. So let's see if he can put on a show. I got the Timberwolves, winning this series, and I got them winning it all. They're very, very fun to watch. They have a lot of talent all around. I think they're a very well-balanced team with big defensive guys like Rudy Gobert is one of the best, defenders in the league. And Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, he can hit those 3-pointers if need to be, so that's going to be a big factor with it. You gotta lock up that 3 ball when it comes to Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns and even Conley. I mean, he's been very consistent with his abilities, and I think that if the Mavericks want to make this a series, they got to lock those guys up and can't be having, Conley putting up, 15 points a game. You just can't have that happen because you're going to have two of their players are going to be putting on a clinic, as we've seen in the Denver Nuggets series. So I think that, I got the Timberwolves winning this one. I'm excited to watch. This is the game that I'm excited to watch. I think that a lot of people have drawn eyes to the Timberwolves after, their series against the Nuggets, and it's going to be a very, very big game for the Timberwolves and the Mavericks.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the Timberwolves have a chance to win the whole thing. I think they just have such a complete team here. They're just oozing out confidence. I mean, they are not scared of anyone. Their crowd is absolutely crazy. And talk about the complete team, number 1 defense in the league. And another strong suit here is these guys can just rebound the ball like there's no tomorrow. I talk mainly huge portion on second chance baskets. And that's really what the T-Wolves were doing to Denver late in games, just second chance baskets, putting boards, second chances. So I think that's really their strong suit here. And with Anthony Edwards as confident as ever, just continuing to go off and continuing as a young leader is to boost his team up with his confidence and with his words. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for this team. I think there's going to be a lot. I would like to see the Mavs make this a series. I wouldn't mind seeing the Mavs really take it to the Wolves, but we look at matchups here. I just think the rebounding is going to go to the T-Wolves all the time. I truly do. And but the key to the Mavs is really Kyrie Irving. He's been inconsistent within these last series. He has to score 20 plus in these games for them to stay in it, and he has to get his team involved. Talk about, like Sach said, PJ Washington, Hardaway Jr., they have to be consistent with this team in order to stay focused. Really do. I mean,
even bro, looking at Kyrie's stat line from the last series, in 3 out of the 6 games, he had 12, 9, and 9. Like, that's not – like, I don't know how anyone can really say, like, that's what's going to get it done against the Timberwolves. I don't see it, especially with the 3 dudes that you're relying on scoring, like the 2 bigs, Gafford and Lively, and then PJ Washington. They're going to have their fucking hands full. So, like we all said, Kyrie Irving is going to have to score 25 plus on some of these nights. There's just no way.
100%. Well, there we go. I think we're all kind of going with the T-Wolves on this. It's going to be a very good watch tomorrow night, ladies and gents. This is going to be a great one to see. We're always witnessing history when we watch some of these playoff series. It'll be interesting to see who's going to step up and do their thing. But that'll do it for tonight's episode. We'll just do a quick around the room from the fellas. Just any last remarks on anything you guys got before we wrap this thing up and put a bow on it, baby. What you got, Sach?
No, I don't got too much. Still rocking with the T-Wolves and the Celtics going to the finals until I change my mind. I still got the Jason Tatum first team All-NBA player to still hoist the Larry O'Brien at the end of the season. So that's going to be nice to see. Congrats to the Celtics. You're NBA champions. That's just as simple as that right now. All these guys are going to have 1 ring. There's going to be a lot of guys in the NBA, bro, with 1 ring, and it's going to just come down to who's going to make the finals again, who's going to get better. But I'm happy for the Celtics. They've got a lot of guys that deserve it over there, a lot of dogs that were called off early from a lot of the fan bases. So it's good to be a Celtics fan right now, I'm sure, for a lot of these people. And shout out to Jason Tatum for getting the people off of his back and, showing people who he really is when it comes down to it.
Max, what you got to close the show?
Absolutely. Close it out. Timberwolves, baby. They're going to take this one against the Mavs. I got them. I got them winning it all. So, I know the Celtics are big contenders, and they do have, one of the best players in the league. But I just think with all this fire and all this ammunition that Anthony Edwards has, he's going to run through some people's heads. He's going to get the job done. And he's a competitor. He's got that fire in him, and it's very fun to see. There's when he's talking about I just want to kill everyone out there. He wants to take heads and do this. I mean, he's one of the youngest players in the NBA right now that is putting up incredible numbers as it is. I think a big part of this is just him going off, doing what he can do. Can't have games, where he's not getting above 20 points. If they lock him down, then there could be a different outcome. But I think if he's going in and having these great games, then they have a great chance with this. As far as the Celtics and Pacers go, obviously the Celtics are looking very lethal, very lethal. They got the guys to get the job done, and I feel like we'll be seeing them and the Timberwolves in this finals this year. That's all I got to say. Absolutely.
100%, ladies and gents. That'll do it for tonight's show, the BCS After Hours. A little preview of Pacers Celtics, as well as, of course, we got T-Wolves Mavs tomorrow night, guys. Stay good, stay scheming, stay frost, my friends, and we will catch you on the next episode.